What's good, y'all? It's your boy Danza. Just one of the many faces of the machine known as the Danza Project. Please do me a favor if you rock with us. Hit that like button, subscribe button, and turn those notifications on. We appreciate you. Salute.
Tell them stop playing with my name, little bitch. I've been in the coffee, hoes getting rich. Ride around with them soldiers and you know they never miss. No, they never miss. No, they never miss. Tell them stop playing with my name, little bitch. I've been in the cut just minding my own business. But if they want a problem, then I'm down for that shit.
It's your boy Danza.
It's your boy Kato.
And this is the Danza Project. And today we got Jason and Gene.
Mm-hmm.
You did. What's cracking?
I just feel like that was the right way to say it. Like Jason and Gene.
Straight up.
Although Gene, like, it doesn't sound like when I said that right now, it didn't sound like I was introducing a black guy and a white guy. It sounds like I was introducing a black guy and a Haitian.
I mean, close enough. He looks Haitian.
Gene. Close enough. Gene Walker.
For sure, man. For sure.
What's going on with y'all? First off, welcome to South Florida.
Thank you.
Man.
Welcome to the Danza Project.
Thank you for having us, bro. Thank you for having us. This is a milestone for me. You know what I mean? Like, I got a couple of things that I've wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like, I hit Jimmy Kimmel. Nice. I did the Steve Harvey show, and now I'm on a Danza Project.
Hello.
You feel me? With my diggity dog.
Yeah. He's been talking about this the whole week.
Yeah, that's dope.
That's it.
Hell yeah.
I actually ran into you in Shreveport.
Yeah. When we was out there for 50 joint.
Yeah.
That was crazy, bro. I'm
Tony
super proud of you.
Uncle Murder brought us out there, and that event was ridiculous.
Nuts. I have never seen so many stars all in one space like that. Like, the way everybody was moving was dope. You know what I mean? They didn't even want to let me in at first. I just drove down there. I'm like, I'm sure I'm going to know somebody who going to let me in. Decent young fly. He like, man, y'all don't know that man. Let that in, man. Yeah, man. It was love, bro.
There was a ton of people there, right? We had Dave Chappelle, Master P, 50 Cent obviously taking over the show. Right. Jeremiah's out there. The Baby's out there. Cat Williams is out there. Cameron's out there.
Fill the town
I mean,
up.
Bud Crawford is out there. I could literally name drop for about 30 minutes.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And guess who was out there the most? The police. They had
Facts.
like it's everywhere you went. But I guess that weekend was one of the safest weekends they've ever had.
Straight up. It was like when the Saints won the Super Bowl. It was absolutely zero crime that day. I'm talking about it wasn't a broken window.
There was no brawl after?
Nope.
Really?
Nope.
That's
I'm
wild.
telling you, it was love.
amazing.
People was crying together and shit. It was nice.
It's a nice little success story for the city. You know
Facts.
what I mean?
Facts. We all cried.
Yeah.
We all cried. We needed it. Yeah, shake us back, please.
Yeah, that was a big year.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Tracy Porter for catching that pick. Well, yes, he turned us up.
Yep, that was against the Colts.
Yep.
Yeah. Peyton Manning got that interception on Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
I was not happy about that. I wasn't happy about that.
You know he from New Orleans though, so.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Make sure.
Archie. Yeah. Pops was out there. He played. You know, I mean, you won one. Well, did you win a couple Super Bowls over there?
You know what? I don't. You know, wasn't this interview supposed to be about something?
Speak it up.
I'm over here like,
Hey, listen,
I
I'm
don't
from
know half the
Buffalo. I
names that you
feel it.
said.
I'm from Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? I feel it.
Oh, there you go.
New Orleans to Buffalo. You know,
You
remember
did.
Lil Wayne said that.
Wide right.
But yeah, man. So what we got a story that we want to talk about here that's important.
Yes, sir.
I think something important about what Kato and I do is we love talking to men about men's mental health.
Yeah.
And Agrihood is something that the two of you got going on, and we really want to get into that.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that.
So for those who aren't familiar with what an Agrihood is, it's a residential neighborhood that's incorporating farm-to-table living, agriculture, sustainable farming, all in the average household, right? And it's been a blessing, man. It's been a process, but it's been a blessing because I feel like when I was young, you know, they had these commercials, milk does the body good. And, you know, we done all cried over McDonald's and all of that. But the food really got us. You know, when you look around at what's happening, I mean, they got people my age. I'm not even 40 yet. And food has completely taken over their life. I'm from New Orleans, and it's killing us. You know what I mean? Right. So, you know, we believe if you eat well, you can live well, and if you live well, you can create well. You know what I mean?
Now, farm to table, because you kind of rolled over that. I know you've been in the trenches, putting in the work over here, but What is farm to table for people who don't really know what that is?
So farm to table, where it comes from is you grow your own produce, you grow your own animals, and you bring it to your table. So farm to table. And everybody thinks that you got to have 100 acres or 1,000 acres to get your own clean beef, for instance.
Right.
But you can call a local farmer or a local rancher, and you can buy a quarter side of beef, a half a side of beef. They call it a whole beef if you want the whole cow. With a whole cow, you're typically getting about 600 pounds of ground beef. You know, your steaks, your briskets, your flanks, and all that kind of good stuff. But what people don't realize is the way that the farmer feeds that animal versus the feedlots is completely organic.
Right.
You know, so you're getting organic quality beef at choice prices, right? And across the board, like if I was farming over here and you said, hey, Gene, let me get a quarter side of beef, you know, I'd be like, all right, $800. You can get a quarter side of beef, put it in your freezer, right?
Right.
And with my animals, there's no injections, there's no pour-ons, there's no shots, there's no antibiotics, there's no nothing. The last 90 days, I feed them out how I want to get the flavor of the beef that way.
I see.
And you're getting the highest quality beef that you can ever get anywhere in the world.
Bro, listen, I ate a burger and it didn't have a lot of condiments on it, nothing. You know what I'm saying? And you know how you be by somebody's house and it's like, yeah, I'm going to eat their food, whatever. You know what I mean? But I'm eating this burger and I get to about bite 3 and I'm thinking to myself, why is this the best burger I ever had in my life? You know what I mean? So I'm like, gee, listen, I know we just put it on the grill, you know what I mean? Like, what is it about this burger? Like, where did you get this from? And he was like, yeah, we raised that. I'm sorry, what? He was like, yeah, they never had no fly spray on it, no vaccines, nothing. It probably had a name. You know what I mean? I was like, damn. But what I'm telling you, the best burger I ever had in my life, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, really changed the way I view what we eat. You know what I mean? I was in Poland one time, right? We out there shooting a movie. I'm out there for like 3 months, and they got miles and miles and miles of just corn and wheat and all of that. So, you know, I'm out there like, man, I'm going to take some pictures. You know what I mean? And go stand in the middle of it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in Poland. They like, please don't. Like, you'll go to jail. I was like, why? Like, because I'm black? It was like, no. Like, this is what we feed our chickens with. So if you contaminate this, you're going to contaminate the chickens, which ultimately is going to contaminate us. And you deserve to go to jail for that. And I was like,
shit. That's serious.
We don't even think like this at home. You know what I mean? Like, it's a trip. You know what I mean? And we'll order wings by the hundreds. You feel me? It's just a different way of thinking, man. And we got to start being good to ourselves for sure.
So that's the main benefit, really, is kind of knowing what it is that's in your food, what it is that we're ingesting.
As far as the farm to table?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Because you got no clue what any of the stuff comes from when you go buy a tube of ground beef
what
at the
path
grocery
it
store.
took to get all the way.
Bro, you don't want to know.
The mystery meat.
Yeah,
Well, because the thing is shelf life, right? Like, that's the concern, shelf life. It's in an attempt to extend how long this food can be on the shelf.
And like with eggs, like if I've got my chicken coop out in the back and I go grab the eggs, I don't put them in the fridge because I don't wipe the membrane off of them. So I just set them on the shelf, and for 6 weeks they're good.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
So I didn't know green eggs was a thing either.
Yeah,
a couple of our chickens were laying green eggs.
I knew about that since Dr. Seuss.
There you go.
Dr. Seuss, a doctor once told me.
Right. The doctor once told me.
Green eggs in hand.
But that's dope, though, man. So how did this union come into play? Because we got my brother from New Orleans.
Right.
And you're from
East Texas.
So where does that meet in the middle to say, hey, let's get something going?
Bro, the story is wild. Nobody ever believes it, but tell them the story.
Okay, so I went to the car wash, right? Like 5 minutes up the street from my house or whatever. And he pulled in and he got the new Cadillac, right? The
in New Orleans?
Escalade. No, so we both live in I live in Salina, Texas, and he lives in Prosper, right? Which is, kind of north of Dallas. We on the outskirts. So I'm looking, I'm like, oh, he got that new thing. You know what I mean? So I asked him about his Escalade or whatever when he walked in, but they had a McLaren parked in a different lane. You know what I mean? So I was like, that's your Escalade? And he was like, is that your McLaren? I'm like, oh, yeah, this guy. You know what I mean? He seen me bunch of tattoos and all that. He must be a rapper. You know what I mean? He living around the white folks. He must be a rapper.
Little did he know it was Eazy-E.
Bro, I had no clue. And it gets...
Nah, you can jump in right here. I like this.
Yeah, so I look at him, I'm like, all right, a black dude with tattoos ain't big enough to play football, he must be a rapper, is that your McLaren?
Right.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, so it's like that? I'm like, well, yeah, pretty much, you know? So, like, we were like that, literally.
Yeah.
The next night, we all went out.
Yeah, race jokes are my favorite.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, because I feel like if you can't joke about race, you probably racist.
Yeah.
A little bit. You know what I mean? You're still a little bit tender.
You're trying to hide
you know what I mean?
something.
Exactly.
You know,
So
look at you
instantly, we just
This white person keep making jokes.
Oh, I know.
Right. I know what you really want to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Say it. Say the word.
right.
Yeah. But, man, so we hung
Insert
out.
Jen Lee.
Yeah, we hung out.
Oh man! if you guys know,
Yeah, so we hung out for, I don't know, man, probably 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, and we'll go to his place, he'll come to my place. You know, we try to out-cook each other because I love to cook, you know.
Same.
And finally, one of his people are like, bro, do you know who he is? I was like, motherfucker, you know who I am? You know, I had no clue who he was. He's like, we played Eazy-E. And I was like, dude, it's been a long time since I've seen Straight Outta Compton, so I had to do a little research. And I was like, well, no shit, I'm hanging out with this guy.
Yeah,
you know?
Little did you know.
Yeah, I had no clue. But right before then, actually, when you were having the burger of your life at the table, he said something. He's like, man, this would be so good with my Agrihood. And I literally put my beer down, and I looked at him, I said, what'd you say?
Bro, his eyebrows was on his lining. His eyes were so big. Like, what? Who told you this? I was like, oh.
Because I've been talking about this for a long time before I even knew him.
Yeah.
And when he threw that word out there, I was like, oh, God, okay, well, we're going to have to do something about this, you know, with the following.
Wait, so Agrihood is a thing before it was a thing?
Yeah, absolutely. They spent like $700 million.
I thought that was something like... this is something that somebody that is white and black would put together.
Right.
Kind of red. Yeah, right. It makes sense, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Nah, but we didn't create it. But I mean, we probably should. You know, we probably gonna pioneer it. I think a little bit better than everybody else because they spent like $700 million on one, and I was like, this is nice. You know what I mean? And I'm there like looking around, like, oh yeah. I need to do something like this, you know, because I mean, doing movies is cool, you know, and I done had some great moments in my life where like my daughters come home like, Daddy, they showed us Mudbound at school, like they teaching us good stuff, you know, they're using your movies at school, but in reality, like, I'm not changing the world, you know what I mean? I'm not doing nothing special. I know some people, you know, might have got through some hard times. Like I ran into this guy who was like, man, you know, on behalf of me and my wife, I really want to thank you because we had a baby that was stillbirth, and you know my wife was really down, and we watched The Chi. We binge watched it, and you put her in another place, and now we got this beautiful baby, and the baby was with him at the time. I'm like, yo, that's fire,
right?
You know, so you hear some good stories, but to be honest, like in 100 years, they might forget all of that. You know what I mean? It's like I really want to do something that I'm gonna be remembered by. You know? And right now in this moment, we literally planting trees that we're never gonna sit under the shade of.
Why?
Because, you know, I know black and brown people, like, we've been through some shit. You know what I mean? That's the truth. Like, we all been through some stuff. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of white folks with blood on their hands. True. But I don't feel like we taking full advantage of giving ourselves ways to make money and setting up some kind of infrastructure for us. Like, we ain't really doing that. You know what I mean? Like, because I've been a part of the problem before. I could say that. You know what I mean? My life wasn't always on the up and up. So, you know, when I look around and I realize, like, damn, they got some niggas, their job really is to wake up and slide on knobs. That's what you thinking about. Really? At 7 a.m. in the morning, you got a gun in your hand thinking about how you going to lay the next man down. And I get it. Once a war starts and people start dying and all of that, like, I get it. Believe me, I understand. But at the same time, it's like, in the same breath, we could look at people and be like, oh, they're holding us down. You know, the Jews, they own Hollywood. Nigga, they set it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we going to do for ourselves? When are we going to have businesses that we started that we support? You know what I mean? Like, the way people just... I mean, look how a motherfucker did Kanye. This motherfucker got 600 acres in Wyoming. And true enough, his delivery is a tad bit fucked up. You know what I mean? He can be a bit brash at times.
Yeah.
You know, but like the thing, like nobody gonna come to his aid. That's crazy to me. You know what I mean? We could have put a fence around them 600 acres and said, all right, for every $1 that you give, you get 5 Yeezys. And just come stay in this motherfucker and spin Yeezys in this bitch. You know what I mean? We could have thought of something different, because to think that one man is supposed to have all the answers is absurd. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. I'm just tired of watching us go through the same old shit over and over and over. Yeah. So I'm just like trying to do something to help create some infrastructure, man, and some sustainability.
I think this is a great practice as far as impact that you can kind of see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you said, you might be on film. There's people you've inspired through your film and through your works that you may never meet.
Exactly.
And they may never get to shake your hand and give you a thanks, but this is something like you're eating the vegetables, you're enjoying the meat, you're taking it down to the butcher, being part of the community.
Exactly.
Like kind of boots on the ground type of deal.
Exactly.
I imagine that's got to be very fulfilling.
It is. It feels so right, bro. You know what I mean? Because it's just a human thing. It don't have no color. It don't have none of that. So like the kind of support that you get from doing the right thing is crazy, you know? And like, I hear a lot of people run over this like, oh, you know, just get started. You know, do the work and the help will come. You know what I mean? Just stay excited. And it's intimidating. But through this walk, it's been like that the entire time. I mean, am I wrong?
No. People like to talk, but a lot of people don't like to walk. Mm-hmm. You know? So we've done not very much talking, and we've done lots of walking on this thing. So we put it together. And I think back to your question on why is a legacy for our kids. Yeah. Not just black kids, not just white kids, not just Latino kids. All kids, you know, these kids need to learn this. And if you look at our obesity rate, and if you look at the ADHD, it's they don't want to talk about the correlation to the sugars and to the processed oils that we're using. As soon as we got away from all the natural, organic stuff, we went to shit. But nobody wants to talk about it because the people with the big money get hurt that way. Exactly. Right? So for us, we talked about this. Like, this is something we can turn over to our kids. Exactly. You know, this 100%. Is something that we're going to start in Texas. You know, we're going to have 10 homes in Texas for these vets with PTSD to help them transition. We have an in-house counselor that they get to talk to. We're giving them purpose. And we're hoping that we can take at least one from this project and move them to Kentucky to do project number 2. Exactly. You know? Exactly. And we also have something that is pretty important. What Jason said, I don't know if y'all really caught that. Planting a tree that you will never sit in the shade of. Yeah. That's powerful.
That's very powerful.
You know?
Very selfless, too.
Selfless. Yeah. So what we have in each of these houses that we're building is a plant that's inside. And if you're through our program, it's your job to keep that plant alive, to hand it to Jason when he takes your bed next year.
I like that.
So you're passing the torch to the next person.
Yeah. You know? And it's personal. You got to take ownership of, and be proud of, and really kind of let your roots settle and, you know what I mean, really get into it and take advantage of the program.
Exactly, because plants are pure results. They don't talk back to you. They don't argue. They don't get upset. None of that. But great. They are a direct reflection on how you treat it.
It's a great symbolism for hope for the veterans as well.
Exactly.
How did the veterans come into this story?
So we actually, in one of the first 5 pilots that we got coming out, starting on the 19th, we've interviewed 2 of the vets, and we try to go to polar opposites. We've got one that did 3 tours in Afghanistan. He got blew up by an Afghani with a C4 vest and a mud hut. I'm talking about he's in it.
Close range, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously that's easy to be like, oh, well, God, you got some PTSD going on. You know, let's get you some help before something bad happens, right? What people don't realize on the other end of that coin is as a 17, 18-year-old kid, you go into the military and they strip you down and they rewire you the way that you want to, like Jason Bourne, right? Kind of if you look at that.
Actually, yeah.
Well, when they get out, they don't know what to do. They've been stripped of their identity and built a new identity. So they've got PTSD too. But as you talk about mental health, and as men, and especially as warriors being men, if you haven't been deployed overseas and you go to somewhere and you're like, I've got PTSD, you can be like, man, how?
Well, yeah, walk it off.
Yeah, right. Yeah, walk it off,
get shrugged off.
Yeah, and people don't understand how important that is, because us as men, you just push that shit down and keep on going, you know? Right. But then you end up 18 a day.
Exactly. Because, like, when I was 15, my dad unalived himself, right? And he was a Green Beret in the military. I mean, great father, you know, but always was a bit rough around the edges. You know what I mean? And he drank. You know, he never talked about any of his problems, though, and he always wore this huge smile, you know, so it kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. Because, you know, he had money, he drove a Porsche 911 at this time. You know, looking from the outside in, you're like, what could possibly be wrong with your life? You know what I mean? Why do you hate yourself or not want to be here anymore or whatever it was? But I just remember having this overwhelming feeling of, like, anger. Because, like, we could have talked about it. Why you didn't say nothing? You know, and I thought I was going through something unique. But then when we started looking at the numbers, like you said, it's 18 families a day that are dealing with this. That's astronomical numbers, bro. That's crazy to me. Like, these people fought for our country. You know, they making sure we got goods, making sure we got...
18 families a day that are dealing with someone unaliving?
Affected in just the military.
In just the military, exactly.
18 military families a day affected by unaliving.
Mm-hmm. It's
a majority
crazy.
of that is due to undiagnosed PTSD.
Exactly.
You know, or something along that
18
line.
families a day. I just like
day.
with my children, I like to repeat things.
Exactly.
They don't listen the first time you tell them.
That's right.
I like repeating it, right? And then sometimes when you're speaking to an audience, it's like you got to repeat 18 families a day.
A day.
That are dealing with that.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Their whole world is just crushed. You know what I'm saying? And I can't imagine, like, what it would feel like. You know, because I got a little bit of that, right? When I did this movie, Mudbound, and you go off to war and you come back, and they like, no, nigga, you got to use the back door. You know, and you like, damn, like, I just went and saved all y'all ass.
Paid the ultimate price.
Exactly. I'm lucky to be home with my life, and I can't even use the front door. That's crazy. But then I was having this conversation with somebody, and literally I get to the red light, and there's a military veteran there with his leg blown off, just sitting at the light, in a wheelchair, and we just passing him every day. Like, can you imagine, bro? Like, shit make me emotional just thinking about it. You know what I mean? Because we are all part of the problem. If you're not gonna point it out and say, hey, we gotta do better. Hey, we need to treat our people like this, then nothing is ever gonna happen. You know what I mean? That's why we trying to put some structure together, because there's no way in the world that we could sit back and keep watching this happen, bro. It's just inhumane. It's crazy.
I could tell it has a personal meaning and importance with yourself. When you speak about it, you kind of have a different tone about it.
Yeah,
2
man.
seconds ago, we were laughing about Wayne lyrics or whatever. You know, this is definitely a different tone. I could see how that would kind of... But it's also very important, too, because, you know, we've spoken about... I've seen you speak about mental health very publicly.
Yes.
This is kind of like a full circle moment in project for you.
Absolutely.
I imagine this is probably... Whether you know it or not, doing wonders for this.
Oh,
I don't want to call you young man like you're some little kid, but
Hey,
this gentleman right here, you know what I'm saying? But that's powerful, and seeing two different entities coming together. And now you guys are recording all of this as it's happening, or is it how is that being documented?
well, listen, I'm new to all this, so the terminology I think is a docu-follow.
Follow doc.
A follow doc.
Docu-follow.
Because it's day in the life. It's when you wake up and turn down the last bit of the chores and stuff like that.
Like so what we recorded for the 5 pilots is we actually went to the cell barn. You know what a cell barn is?
No.
You know what a cell barn is? Oh man.
I can guess, but I don't.
Did you know what a cell barn is before all this?
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't.
So I
I've
feel
been having
safe.
a blast.
Yeah, you're in a safe space there, right? So what a cell barn is ranchers will bring their cows for whatever reason to a big lot, and they run through an auction, and other people will buy them, right? Okay. So whether you want to change up the lineage or the bloodline in your herd, or if you're just starting, or if you just want to buy one cow to feed out to feed your family, you go to a sell barn and you buy it. And there's an auctioneer, right? And I'm like, bro, look, you listen to rap music, but these auctioneers,
bro, it was so funny too. He had a red rag over the mic like Wayne. You hear me in the basement? That boy, like 65, 75, 85, 95. That boy was running there. Man. I'm like, this is crazy, bro. I'm telling you, we got in the bin war and everything in there. That was fun. Though.
So you have a number that you hold up, and you can. I mean, I bought cows on accident before. Like my head itches. I'm like shit, and he's like sold. I'm like motherfucker.
Gene, 225.
Yeah, right. He's like, I don't even ruin my trailer for this thing. We're going to figure it out. Yeah. So Jason, he's wanting to buy so bad. And I'm like, listen, these are what we're looking for, right? This is the specific ones. And they ran probably 30 through, and he's just chomping at the bit. He's like, I want to buy that cow. Right. Just calm down, buddy. You know, we're going to get one. I promise you, we'll take one home, you know? And he's like, well, how do we buy it? And I was like, well, you see that little ticket? And he goes, yeah, this one. And he's like, $75. You know?
Right. Did I do it?
My bad.
Was that too much?
Yeah, he's like, just sit there like this and don't move, right? So, yeah, we bid. We got 5 cows that we got over there, and that's what we're going to feed everybody with. Yeah, we got one. We kind of got doped on that last one. But whatever.
It's good TV.
Yeah, right. So those are the animals that we're going to use for the first wave of people that come in for the Agrihood, right? But we've got it all video. It's called the catwalk. So you bring all these cows in, and they're in different lots underneath, and they've got your steers and your bulls and your cows and your pairs and your calves and all that kind of stuff. And you walk across the top, and you just write the numbers down. Like, well, okay, well, 384, I kind of like that one. 586, I kind of like that one, because you're never going to get what you want. Right, so if you want to buy 5, you write down 15.
Smart.
Right?
And hopefully you win the bid.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we spent a little bit more than what we wanted to. But
exactly. But I
did that at Tootsie's.
75.
Sold to the man up front.
That's a sell bar.
2 seconds. Can y'all got like a napkin or a tissue or something?
Yeah,
somewhere.
Right here.
Paper towel.
You can hand me a paper towel real quick, Cole?
Come on, Deuce.
My brother.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you. This fucking spicy food got it coming out of nigga.
That's the part of the episode where my girl be like, so you did what at Tootsie? I was with comedians.
Yeah.
It was comedians.
Right. So go back.
It's just for content.
Still run past that. What you said?
Yeah. So we got all the video, buying cows, bringing them back, turning them loose, and he's on the front of my skid steer, and we're fixing fences, and getting bit by chiggers, the whole 9 yards. He got the full experience, the full farm experience.
Bro, they got so much that they don't tell you about farming, bro. That's just like these bugs, right? These chiggers. They get in like the lining of your socks and your underwear.
Why do they call them chiggers?
Yeah, why do they call them chiggers?
You tell me.
I didn't get bit.
Why do they call them chiggers, Gene? Huh? Why do they call them chiggers?
I was wondering.
Bitches.
I have to call them chiggas.
No hard R's.
Solid move.
No hard R's.
Solid move.
No, but I'm talking about, I probably, between them and the mosquitoes, I probably left with a good 50, 60 bites.
Damn.
Bro, they bit the shit out of me. They were like, hey, we got some colorful. Tell you, man.
They like that dark chocolate.
Bro. Then we already in grass that's like basically waist high, maybe a little higher. And I didn't tell you this, but black people scared of that kind of shit, just in general. You know what I mean? Niggas don't do that type of shit. Why am I here in this tall ass grass? Like, for what? This is how you get bit. And then when you get bit, they gonna say, where was you at? You say, well, I was in the tall ass grass that I can't see to the bottom of. And they like,
Well, that's where you messed up.
Exactly.
Right?
You know?
Have you had any experience on a farm like prior to this?
No.
Anywhere with families, just kind of growing up in the South at all?
Nah, not really. I mean, man. You got your random roosters that run around New Orleans, you know what I mean? But like, as far as like actual farming and farmland and all of that, I think low key, a lot of black people run from that because it felt like we had to do that at one point in time. You know what I mean? So working on the farm, you be like, nigga, no, I'm not. Fuck no. You know what I mean? I'm just not doing it.
What do I look like?
Exactly. Like, so I think, just naturally, like a lot of people don't do it anymore. You know what I mean? Which is kind of crazy because not knowing how to feed yourself is crazy.
When you break it all the way down, that's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Right? We have this severe dependence on government and all these processed foods and the stuff that's going to be here in 2030, to 2050, and so on and so forth.
Exactly.
There is a lack and maybe a need of focus on this, I don't want to say black agriculture, but on this new front. I think bringing that education back to the hood is the future. I see Khalees is doing something in Africa.
Yeah, she's a supporter of ours.
Oh, that's really awesome.
Yeah,
So she's kind of in tune, and you guys are all in tune as far as what's going on.
Yeah. Like, cause I went to her like when this might have been before me and G even started talking about it. That I was like, yo, this is what I want to do. I want to build an Agrihood. She was like, do it. Like whatever you need to know. Like she was down to coach me through it. You know what I mean? It just so happened that I got blessed with a farmer.
You got Gene in the cut.
Yeah, exactly. Gene in the cut. My dog right there.
You said Khalees?
Khalees.
Mm-hmm. She brings milkshakes.
To the yard.
To the farm.
You know what?
Just couldn't resist.
It wasn't me. It was him.
She's still bringing the milkshakes.
Right.
You see her on Instagram? She looked great. She looks fantastic. Shout out to you.
There's a lot of walkaway shots on her Instagram.
There's a lot of walkaway shots. Shout out to Khalees. But you got Khalees advocating for this kind of stuff. You got what's the brother's name? 19 Keys advocating. Got Shaka Bars advocating for these. Earn Your Leisure. That whole camp is kind of pushing to that. Let's get back to the roots. Do you know where your food comes from? Do you know where your eggs and your protein and all your produce and all these things? Is there a focus on that? So I think there's a lane for this.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well. And it's wide open, bro. That's the thing about it. And we want people to get involved. You know what I mean? They got a guy, I think he's from Florida, actually. Him and his wife, he's became an internet sensation. I want to say his name is Jabari. Bro, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. Trying to promote you, but yeah. But he lost over 100 pounds. He always say, I lost over 100 pounds, still eating all the foods that I love.
He's
you
like,
know what I'm talking
I
about?
wrote a book. I forget his saying. Yes, it is Jabari, and he's got some good stuff.
Yeah, but him and his wife, they've dedicated their time to like planting trees. You know what I mean? So we're going to get them out there to the Agrihood and let them come plant a bunch of trees and stuff like that. Like we want to work with everybody who wants to work with us because that's the whole point. You know what I mean? Of just making it community. You ain't got to be black. Like, you know what I mean? This ain't all of that. Like at the end. At the interior of all of this, it's about us having something that's going to allow us to get back to who we were in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm not really sure what the phenomenon is. And it may just be me being, what's the word? Just naive, right?
Okay.
Or just ignorant to it. But I feel like when I was young, I didn't see that many autistic kids. You know what I mean? And I'm not sure if it's something in the food or what it might be, but I feel like now, like 3 out of 10 kids is autistic or something. You know what I mean? And it's just scary to think about. Like I can't imagine what some of these parents are going through, you know? And they're probably asking themselves all of these questions, but like the stuff that they were putting into their bodies as a child when they had no choice at all might be affecting that.
Man, I think those numbers. I watched something with RFK when he was talking about that, getting rid of the food dyes that are terrible for you. By the way, right? I want to say back in the 80s it was 1 in 30,000, and like right now it's like 1 in 20.
Whoa.
1 in 20. Yeah, dude, it's unbelievable. And now listen,
RFK is talking about a lot of things. It's the shots, the food. The food diet, all these things. So,
all that stuff, and the combination.
I don't know if y'all can hear me?
Yeah.
I used to do like a whole theater program where they had like a special program for autistic kids, where I do the sound and all that shit. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I see one common denominator among all autistic parents. They're all older. I've never seen an autistic kid come from a young set of parents.
Wow, that's
Never
interesting.
seen it.
Interesting.
And I'm talking about I work with a disproportional amount of them.
Right.
That's interesting.
So maybe a developmental thing during birth because of the age of the parent.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, they're in my theory, if I'm being honest, right? When they say women got a biological clock, that shit is real. Like, not everybody's gonna be Beyonce or whatever, and have access to all this high grade medicine where they can have kids later on in life.
Right.
So right around 35, 36, 37, it's kind of a crapshoot. So I think if you have a baby later on in life, there's a strong chance you're gonna get the autism, the Down syndrome, the this, the that, so on and so forth. And I don't personally think it's a vaccination thing. I think it's a lot more people are having kids later, and you're seeing more evidence of autism.
Damn.
I don't know the numbers on that. I think I could say that's a contributing factor, but personally, I think it's the what we're ingesting.
Diet.
You know, and obviously that it makes scientific sense, right? With the older that women get, the more chance you have of all kinds of birth defects,
course, yeah.
you know, of anything. But going from 1 to 30,000 to 1 in 20, you can't blame that on age or just food or just this or just that. We got a lot of problems going on.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
You know?
Right. They did eat a lot of hot Cheetos in the last time.
Slim Jims and
Flaming Hots.
Yeah. But we got to get our finger put on it for sure. For our kids.
Absolutely.
You know, you got young kids. I've got young kids. You know, I don't want them dealing with the same shit that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
You know, it's time that we start coming back up instead of coming back down off that curve. You know, and just for us, I mean, he's lost like 35 pounds. You know,
Since October, bro. I've been in it.
off of really just eating better. You know, and
real food.
The dude that you're talking about with the podcast, he goes in the grocery stores like reads the labels off of them and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like the enriched flours and all that kind of stuff. You know, people think they're eating good. You know, like the food pyramid is garbage that they've been telling us our whole entire life.
Right.
You know, so I mean, there's so much information on the internet that is not right.
Right.
You know, good,
That's
bad, or
another
indifferent.
thing.
It's overloaded information.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you what I'm upset about. There's our guests. We got this. Where's the box? Where's the box? Oh yeah, you see, we get a bump box. We got the Belly Gang Cushington brick
$100
T-shirt. You know, the $100 T-shirt. We get gloves. They're talking about some great hamburgers.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like I couldn't be more hungry right now. It's like, oh yeah, the hamburger made him lose 35 pounds. Like, oh, why can't I get the 35
You ever heard of green eggs?
We got to get y'all out there, bro. We got to get y'all
I'm
out
going
there,
out there
man.
tomorrow.
Smoke some
To
meat,
where?
you know what I mean?
To wherever the burger is.
Oh, well, I'm flying back tomorrow. Come on.
Okay, yeah, let's get it.
We'll be here.
Yeah.
I'm coming back to Miami to a buddy's place at Miami Beach the second weekend of July. So
Okay, yeah.
maybe I'll just bring some with me.
Yeah.
Hook you
They-
up,
They,
bro.
they allow you to fly through, or is it like
Yeah, you put it on a
contraband?
cooler. No, you just check it in and put it on a cooler. That styrofoam cooler. I do it all the time.
Do you? You
Yeah.
fly with food?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah,
White
right.
privilege, bro. White privilege. I know
Well,
them
you know,
niggas
I
got
kept my
cocaine.
boat in Venice for years and years and years. You know, so we go catch
Right.
tuna fish and snapper and grouper and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man.
And if I don't want to make the 8-hour drive, you know, you just bring a styrofoam cooler, fillet your fish, you know, put some ice on them, and pay you $50 for your bag, and bring them to the house.
Bro, that's another thing that I got into dealing with this man, right? Because like fishing it's a zen spot, you know, but at its core, it is a way to feed yourself.
Absolutely.
For sure, right? But the first time I ever went fishing, I think I might have been like, I don't know, early, like pre-teens, early teens, right? But I went because I ended up getting in trouble. So me and my two partners went with his dad to go fishing, and he was like
spend some
super
time with
bored.
us.
You know what I mean? We trying to sneak off and shit, like, and it just didn't. It was no fun at all, you know. But then he brought me fishing. I caught like about 3 fish the first day.
Or
It was
more.
a pretty good day. Or more. It was a pretty good day. You know what I mean? But like,
Nice.
it just started making me think about like all the times that I wanted to do stuff with my kids, right? Because we went fishing with his kids, and you know there would be times that I would be hurt, like as a father, like damn, can't bring my kids to Sky Zone, can't afford them to bring them to Disney, can't afford to do this, can't afford to do that. But like we really could just walk to the pond
Spend
and make
hours.
some memories, and just spend hours out there, bro. It's things that they'll never forget, you know. So it's been like this whole process has been stripping me of what I know, because why do I need to flex for my children? I don't need to hold the racks up to my ear for them to be like, Daddy, I love you. Like, let's do something great. You know what I mean? And it's just been a really, really satisfying process, you know, but still low key in competition with his son. He got a 7-year-old son that just caught a fish on the beach, bigger than I ever caught in my life. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
Pulling in
damn,
straight
you know what I mean?
pigs, back to
Exactly.
back.
He getting it in. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, they're biting over here. How you doing?
Exactly.
And he'll
Now-
talk shit the whole time. To him.
Right.
Uncle Jason, I got another one. How many you got? Shut up, man.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Now,
man,
now
it's a
here's an
trip.
important question is, and I'll break it down, but what keeps you safe? And I mean that by when these type of messages are usually delivered, you know, there's where all the conspiracy theories come in. Oh, you got taken out by this person, taken out by this person. What keeps you or makes you safe delivering this type of a message to the world?
I think Two things. First of all, guys like you, making sure the world hears it. You know what I mean? So if they Dr. Sabi me right quick, they'll know. You know what I mean? That we was on a mission. But also, I think I'm just safe because the God I serve has finally, I think, given me something that I feel like is purpose. And it's something that I'm willing to die for. I'll die about it. So I'm okay with that. I'm safe in my own skin, knowing that if I went today or tomorrow, the ground floor has already been paved. Like, we good. We got the foundation started. You know what I mean? And we can keep it moving from there. I know that sounds dangerous.
My answer's a little bit different than what yours is.
Well, you know.
I live in Texas. I got guns everywhere.
Right.
He's like, that's why I'm safe. Okay, let's just start there. Okay.
I mean, we're just gonna start with that,
Right,
you know?
right. Don't go out like David Koresh, my guy. We need you.
Yeah, I don't even think about that, to be quite honest with you. You know,
It's a black thing, see?
yeah.
Dig into that a
let me
little
pull
bit
that
more.
card.
I'd like for you to unpack this a little bit.
I got the card in my wallet.
Yeah, no, because I really do feel like as a black man, bro, like when we have anything that is gonna start giving us leverage to where we feel like, white people feel like we're not gonna need them anymore. Like, it's death that's involved with that. You know what I mean? Like, it's a super scary thing. It's a super scary thing. And I never even knew that you didn't think about that kind of stuff.
No, I really don't.
Well, Gene,
That's dope, though.
Yeah, it is.
getting into an arrangement like this is going to bring you more to the forefront probably than what you're used to in prior life.
Already.
Right? So what were you doing leading up to this?
Man, I've got an RV park that I run.
Okay.
You know, I sold a business about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So I could raise my kids. at home.
Right.
And I just farm and ranch.
Reason why I ask is because with this newfound journey and putting yourself more on the forefront, security can be a concern, right? Like, more attention on the farm, people
just have to find out,
trespassing,
you know
people
what I
coming
mean?
to get that good produce, you know. Spoken like a true Texan.
Yeah. I mean, dude, we don't get to pick when we go.
Huh.
You know,
Yeah,
like
ain't that the truth?
I can't wake up and be like, well, I got 6 more days to go.
That's
you know,
right,
so
right.
I wake up and I kind of do what I do to make sure that when I'm gone, my kids can be like, you know what, my dad did this.
There
you know,
you go.
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
fire.
How dope was it for your kids to be like, it was Eazy-E?
So my oldest, my 19-year-old,
Yeah.
right? He's the one that's, you know, he won't even go on my TikTok. Like, I record stuff. He's like, Dad, don't put me on TikTok. You know? And I sent him a couple pictures, like all the people that we're hanging out with, because when I tell you I'm new to this world, dude, I didn't watch much TV. You know, I just sit on my tractors all day and watch some TikToks and maybe make some TikToks. You know. And now I'm here with you guys, and we're here over with Flow Rida the other day.
Right.
And, you know, you're dropping these names, a list this long, and I'm like, I mean, I've heard of 2 of those guys. You know? So, dude, it's wild. You know, the big thing is apparently I'm his manager since I'm a white guy.
Oh, guaranteed.
So
Is this your manager? Oh,
yeah,
God.
that's what I get from everything, you know. And I'm like, I'll play whatever card I need to. I really don't give a shit.
They've
you
been
know?
racial profiling my dog.
Oh, dude, you know, Miami profiles the shit out of me. You know? I don't get it.
Yeah,
But,
there's a bunch of Spanish people out here. They don't even understand what's going on.
yeah, poquito español. You know, so,
Oh, it's tu manager, huh?
yeah,
My
see?
plane. My plane, your manager.
But you know, I don't know what to think about it just yet. All I know is that we can't even go to the grocery store without people, you know, just give me your phone, I'll take a picture. It's to that point.
I'm his manager.
Yeah, right.
Nah, it's so funny though, because since the first week for sure that I met him, I was like, bro, why you never tried to be on TV before? Like, what is this about? Because they got this X factor, right? It's just things that you can't teach. And like, as people become the greats, you start to see it. You know what I mean? And like, a lot of times, you know, like I use Chris Tucker for example. In Friday when he did the "and round here between Normandy and Western," they can't write that kind of shit. You know what I mean? So it's like it's something special that comes out of people, and you can see it. Like people can spot greatness, you know. But a lot of times, motherfuckers just be low key hating. So they like, I don't even want to put you in my world because then it's gonna take the spotlight off of me. For me, I just want to be around good artists who really do their thing. So I was telling them, like, bro, I'm going to put you in a movie. Like, before we even figured out this whole Agrihood business, I'm like, man, we need to do a buddy cop movie or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, we could do something, bro. That would be great because I just feel like he got the charisma, you know, the thing you can't teach.
I ain't worried about nothing.
Yeah.
I ain't worried about nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, look, for season 1, you'll be on the farm, bringing Jason to the farm, but maybe you could do the reverse, where you take them back to the Noya and show them how to do some greenhouse work with a 5x5 plot. You know, bring it back to your side, and
that'd be dope.
Because that's kind of what it is that you're doing, right? This is the first glimpse of getting people hip to farm to table.
Right.
So if I can show you how to do that in your neighborhood, so you don't think it's so impossible or so unattainable, more people might be inclined to grow some tomatoes or put a little lime or lemon tree out there
100%.
somewhere, all your spices and things like that.
Yeah.
So
in our episode, sorry to cut you off.
No,
I'll forget, man.
You're good,
I'm
brother.
getting old. But we in our episode we do have what are we calling?
Real quick, because I know you don't do much TV work or stuff like that, but the mic. Put the mic this way.
we can clip. Yeah.
It'll hear you more. Yeah, there you go.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Ooh,
I got some bass in my
that
voice.
TV voice.
Bitches. What were we talking about? Oh, we're actually taking like a segment and we're teaching people how we're like in your flower bed, like, you know, rip out the box bush that you have in there and plant your own because you're already paying the water bill to water it, you know? So we are, in each episode, we're doing a big black and white issue, you know, like to where, I mean, we're talking about some stuff, you know? And then we're teaching people how easy it is. Because just like when he tells me, he's like, you need to do this acting stuff, I'm like, dude.
Me?
Yeah, me? What? Like, where do you even start? I'm so overwhelmed, you know? But once you do it once, you're not overwhelmed anymore with it, you know? The very first shot that we did, you know, on our little pilot.
Bro, let me tell you how crazy it is, right? Like, one day, because like he said, we always be cooking. So he gives me a pair of scissors and was like, hey, go get some scallions from the backyard. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I know this got to be easy because he just gave me scissors. You know what I mean? But I'm like,
Don't fuck this up.
I don't know how to do it. You know what I mean? And he's like, man, give me the scissors. We went outside. He was like, scallions. You know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Like how complicated we make it seem. Like we so afraid of the norm. You know what I mean? That is absolutely incredible. Like we really feel like, you know, like for instance, HOA makes me plant 2 trees in my yard. They got what they call like ornamental bushes, which ultimately turn into sticker bushes. You know what I mean? And they got a bunch of flowers and all of that for the rabbits to just eat. When in real life, we still got to water all of that. So you still paying bills, you know what I mean? Sprinklers and all of this stuff for stuff that's just going to look good for the community. Like when we could be feeding the community, you know? And it's so funny, like, you know, as much as we want to make it seem like it's one way or the other, I'm thinking about the Karen from down the street from your crib. She was mad as hell that he was growing his own stuff. HOA doesn't like this. Like, I'm talking about, man, like they got some people who just are against the movement, which absolutely makes no sense.
But what's
like,
the argument there, though? Is it something to do with soil quality? Is she upset about?
I'll end the argument with her. I looked at her and said, I don't give a shit.
Right.
I ain't worried about nothing.
You know, if you don't give those people the attention that they're looking for, they go away.
Doesn't
Yeah,
exist.
effects.
They go away, you know?
So there's a lot to unpack when we talk about Agrihood. A lot to unpack. It seems like every time we touch the topic, we went 10 minutes in on it. Right? So for the people that have a hard time understanding Agrihood, if we could give a brief synopsis to it, what is it?
Take it away, Gene.
Oh, me again? Okay. So the show Agrihood is we want to take vets with PTSD, some kind of disability. We want to help them transition from the military life to the civilian life. And we're going to do that through gardening, through farming, through ranching, through equine therapy. And then more importantly, because especially with our military people, they're all about, I got your back. Right? Yeah. It's more important for them to take care of you than take care of themselves, right? Oh, yeah. So the plant in each house that we have, that it's your responsibility to pass on.
So it's a house that's already designed.
We're building 10.
Okay.
Yeah, we're building 10. And they're just, one bedroom, like a suite, basically. You get your own chicken coop, your own greenhouse, and then
Same neighborhood?
Yeah, they're all right next to each other. Okay. They're going to be like half acres apiece, right? But the passing of the plant is like the big deal for me. It is, because the person behind you is dependent on you to keep that thing alive. To me, that's like one of the most important symbolic pieces that we have. Powerful. And of course we're helping our guys. We're paying for the crisis counselor to be there 24/7. We're paying for all the produce. We're paying for the plants. The irrigation that we're doing from our ponds and the animals and this and that. Now we have a 501c, so we will welcome donations to help everything on that. But we're going to do it regardless. Yeah. Yeah. But I couldn't think of a better cause, to put money into for the people that want a little tax.
Yep. And we doing all open books, people.
Yeah.
Okay? Mm-hmm. We're not one of the 501c3s that you donate to and they taking 95 cents out of each dollar and put it in their pocket.
No exaggeration.
Trying to help.
Yeah. So on our website, we're going to have every Friday our bookkeeper's going to update the financials on our 501 so you can see in real time where every dollar's going to. And we're going to try to keep it under 35% cost. So 65% will go to the cause, which is extremely high for a 501.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's huge.
Very generous.
That's huge to just show the world, hey, this is, you're a part of us and this is what we're giving you in return. This is how it's going down. Because that's the fear.
Yeah.
We all have, it's always been the fear.
Yeah, but nobody wants to disclose where that money's at, right?
Yeah.
It's easy to lose $16 trillion. Where'd it go?
Right. How you just lose
if you give me $5, I want you to see where your $5 went to. Yeah. Right. Some of it went to diesel, some of it went to chickens, some of it went to electricity. You get to know exactly where your dollar went to. Exactly. And everybody's scared to do that because they're hiding something.
Yeah, I was going to start one until you guys said that. Now I don't want to start one. I don't want to tell you how I'm spending it. Like I said, I'm picking out at the catwalk.
Yeah. Sounds like the Clinton Foundation. 1,000 coats for $3 million, right?
That's what
I guess that's really the dangerous part of what I just said. Around that crew. It was a great podcast. This is my second one. I appreciate it.
Right. Next thing you know, Gene's getting sex trafficked.
They're gonna be severely disappointed.
Right. He going through the program and shit, rocking back and forth.
The Jitty trial.
Oh my God! Don't do Gene like that. It's his first time up here. All right.
Instead of baby oil, we got beef tallow, fellas.
True to the brand.
I just heard about beef tallow this week. I got some on my face right now.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, it works good, doesn't it?
Beef tallow, the truth.
I just learned about this week. My girl's like, you could have beef tallow. I was like, some shit that you put on your face and makes your face better.
No, so basically it's like the fat and the grease and all of that drips off of the meat while you're cooking it, smoking it or whatever. Like if you got a brisket, it'll just fall off as you're cooking it. You know what I mean? You just put your pan under there and it'll... Yeah. Yep, and you
wait,
put
so that's
that in
what
the jar.
Hey, we're gonna have to talk about this because the stuff you put on your face is not.
It's not the same beef tallow.
Yeah, but it is. But you don't want to get it off the smoker.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So when you get
let me back up because this is a good
this from the butcher, right?
Educational point, right? Yeah, so when you take your cow to the butcher, right? They'll ask you, do you want your tallow or do you not want your tallow? And I'm like, I want my tallow and everyone else's that you get, right?
Especially now.
So tallow is fat. It's beef fat. Well, tallow is rendered beef fat, right? So the way that I do my tallow, because I don't put it on my face, I cook with it, right? Is I will when I cook a brisk.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah. I'm not Eazy-E, dude. I can't.
Hard cut to Danza with the perfect skin. Like,
yeah, right.
L'Oreal
damn,
face
you were
ass.
glowing today. What did you do today?
It's the tallow.
Must be that beef tallow. Maybe I will smoke some for you. See the little Danza over there. But yeah, so it's the fat that comes off of it. Yeah, and that's what you really want to cook with, like all the processed oils. You know, the olive oils and the grapeseed oils and all that is. It's not really good to use. Right. You know, bacon grease and beef tallow, dude. I mean, everybody's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get fat." No, you're not. You know, hit the gym. You'll be all right.
That's fine.
It's amazing. Beef tallow's made it all the way to beauty products now.
It's crazy.
It's kind of wild, but I feel like people are getting more aware. You know, like this is what's going on.
Yeah.
Like a couple years ago, CrossFit became popular.
Yeah.
Which popularized getting healthy.
Yeah.
Cool. Perfect. Great. And this is the other side of that, the nutrition side.
Yeah.
What's in our food? What are we ingesting? All the plastics and all the metals and all these other things. So it's amazing. It's probably got to be really exciting for you guys to be at the forefront of this.
Dude, I'm so pumped about it.
Yeah, man.
You know,
how much does this take away from the actor or the acting?
You know what? It doesn't. I think it gives me a chance to reboot. You know what I mean? And everybody, every time somebody asks me about like acting advice and what do you think I should do and where do you find the pain and all, it's just life. Just keep living. Ooh. The more you allow yourself to experience and the more you allow yourself to be in situations that you haven't been in and just be vulnerable to the situation, the more you're going to learn and the more you can put yourself in somebody else's shoes. So if anything, this is just making me better.
More to pull from.
Exactly. Like I did this film, The Mustang, right? And I worked, it's about a group of guys in jail who break wild Mustangs and turn them into like some horse of value, right? I mean, it's ironic a lot of them go to the police, but you know, like I worked with a lot of guys who were actually in the program in prison, and now that they're out, you know, they was like dealing with the horses, and you know, because you got to have extras who actually know what they're doing, because a horse could be a dangerous animal, you know. So there's this, like my character in the film is the best trick rider and the best trainer that's in the program, and I'm supposed to be training this guy who the story follows, right, on how to break horses. But I've been scared of horses pretty much my whole life. Because, I mean, I grew up in New Orleans and the police ride horses, and we just ain't got the best relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's flawed, you know? And I done seen them bolt through just crowds of people during Mardi Gras and all of that. And I'm like, I done seen a horse knock down a pregnant woman before. So it's just, you know, I've always been scared of them my whole life. So when I started working, you know, on the film, I really went through the process. Like, I started working in the stables first. They had me shoveling shit, all of that, you know. And by the time it was time for me to do a wide shot, because, like, when you do a wide, you can't have a wrangler right off the side of the camera just in case something go wrong with the horse and all of that. It's just you and the horse. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I had this beautiful moment where, like, the horse went up and kind of got scared, and I'm just there with these two white sticks in my hand, and I stood my ground, you know what I mean? And it was just such a beautiful moment that I had, and I feel like it made me stronger as a person, you know what I mean? And as a man, like, you know, so that's how I feel with all of this, you know what I mean? This farming, my hands is ate up, my ankles is bit up, I'm bit up all the way to my thighs, down my back, like it's a real thing, but I'm going home with real skills, and it's something that I feel like I can be proud of when it comes to just being a man, you know, which is it's dope, bro. It's dope.
I gotta say, I love it because I just sit in the skid steer and I'm not drive that T-post.
Bro,
you know, go fix that hole in the fence. You were learning, dude. I love that you're learning. God, I love you're learning.
It just made me think of that moment, right? Because like we going around the perimeter, and mine is 22 acres of tall ass grass, right? So we marking the fence to see exactly, you know, where we need to fix certain things at or whatever, because you got other animals who come fuck with your shit. You know what I mean? You got deers, hogs, all this kind of stuff, and you got to constantly make sure everything is right, because they got animals that'll eat your animals. You know what I mean? Your animals could get out the fence, all of this kind of stuff. You know, and it's something that you got to constantly stay on. So again, waist high grass. I go to lean over to do my thing on the fence, and all I see is reptile moving through the grass. And all I think is hell no. You know what I mean? So now I'm back in the truck. He's like, man, get your scary ass. What you see, bro? Why is a whole box turtle? I'm like, bro, I was scared to death. But I'm like, man, I'm not about to wait around and, oh, hell no. Big ass snake bite me in my motherfucking ass. No. It's not going down like that. But yeah, man, we done had some really good times out there, bro.
Said we do not wait and find out. We get up out of there.
Exactly. Ask questions later, man. We run as a team.
Up on the toolbox in the back of the truck. Not even the bed. He's up on the toolbox. If he could get up on the cab, I think he would have.
Jason was finding out what it's like to be white. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I've been dealing with chiggers all day.
Right. These chiggers just don't stop. Bruh. Apparently chiggers love niggas though, bro. Shit out of me.
There's the next t-shirt.
I got chigga fatigue for sure.
Careful, Gene. Careful, Gene.
I hate those bugs. What are you talking about?
But let's talk about it, right? Because that's a big thing.
Yeah.
For a black man and a white man to be coming together and doing something like that, especially like you're jumping into completely different arenas, as we hear from you talking. You're learning something like you're in front of the world.
I know, right?
You're sitting on the Danza project. You're talking to the people. They're trying to figure out what the hell you're doing.
I know.
I say, what the hell is this?
Right.
But then they're sitting there like, what the hell are you sitting in that grass for?
Right.
You know what I mean? So what is this done to build, between obviously cultures, different cultures, families, putting your families together and learning one another? What is that?
But, I mean, we tell people that all the time. Like, I was FaceTiming my kids today, literally. And they heard Jason in the background. Wow, where's Uncle Jason? That's the way it should be. I don't care what color you are, or you are, or you are, or you are. Either you're a good dude or you're not a good dude. And if you're not a good dude, I'm not gonna fuck with you.
Straight up.
And that's when you ask me about the death thing. It is what it is, man.
Right.
That's kind of my motto. Whatever is gonna happen is gonna happen. Exactly. I tell him all the time. He's like, you're gonna have a target on your back and this and that. I'm like, dude, you can't cancel something not on the menu. I mean, you got to be careful because of the position that you're in. True. I can tell it how it is.
Yeah, but I mean, we up here fighting for a human cause, so I'm not afraid. You know what I mean? That's my thing. That's why I'm like, because he asked me a couple times before, like, we popped out here or whatever, like, man, you don't feel weird having a white guy on these podcasts with you. You know what I mean? And I'm like, nah, because at the end of the day, if I can't say in front of the world that's my partner, I'm not his real friend. And you know what I mean? I ain't gonna be your friend behind closed doors when my partners ain't around just because they grew up in the hood with me and all of this. No, because he's focused on me being a better man for my children. You know what I mean? And they got so many people who I grew up with that didn't even care that I was going through survivor's remorse. They'll rather me dumb myself down and be a worse version of myself so they know how to digest me now. Because we all was in the sandbox together. We all done, played high school football together. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden I do something to better myself and now y'all looking at me like I'm tripping. That's wild. You know what I mean? And I think that a lot of people are constantly looking for excuses and want to stay in this space where they don't grow because they're afraid to fail for whatever reason. But Gene said something to me that was so powerful, bro, because he was like, man, it's not that I don't understand how black people feel, because I definitely understand. Like, y'all been through a lot, you know what I mean? Slavery was fucking crazy. The Willie Lynch system is absolutely insane. But I didn't own a slave. My daddy didn't own a slave. My grandfather didn't own a slave. So when is this shit gonna stop? Because I just need to know one thing. Are you gonna treat my kids like this? I was like, oh, shit. That's crazy. You know what I mean? And it's this constant revolving door, you know what I mean? Because this is the shit that they want us to look at. Like, they want us to size each other up and say we can't come together. Like, that shit is crazy to me. It's absolutely insane. And the things that we learning from each other in front of the world, that's why we doing it like that. Because there's always going to be constant discoveries that we're making about each other as men, as cultures, all of that. And we want people to know that it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, imagine living in this world without tacos, bro. Yeah, right. What the fuck would that be? You know what I mean? Exactly.
Yeah,
like, a lot of this shit that's being kicked to us, man, is just a smokescreen. So we don't realize that there's this bigger agenda that's being pushed, you know, and these bigger things that are happening, bro. Because they want our babies. They want our children, dog. You know?
Do you get to involve your kids at all? I'm sure your kids don't have a choice, but do you get to bring them out to the farm and everything? And
I haven't yet.
Okay.
I haven't yet because things like Chiggers. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just keep it real. Like, you know, it's real out there. You know what I mean? They be having coyotes and all of this kind of stuff that just pop out, and all of a sudden it's just you and the animal. You know,
right.
You know, my blackness still got me a little nervous about that. You know what I mean? But the girls are super excited. Like when I went and bought the cows, they was like, "Damn,
I'm sure, especially
why did
girls.
you buy these cows?" I'm like, "They for y'all." They like. What? They're
When do we get to meet them?
Away.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly, bro. They are blown away by it. So yeah, they'll be out there soon. They'll be out there soon for sure.
They can't give them names. You know, that's what my kids want to name all the animals. I'm like, listen, you can name it, but you know it's going to be in the freezer.
Those
next
aren't our
year.
friends.
They're gonna be like,
Right.
Jennifer was bussing,
Well, and honestly, but for real, like that's one of the hardest parts is when you have young kids, you know, and you know the cows have their calves and their babies and they're cute, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna name it, you know, Brownie or this or that, and I'm like, well, baby, you can name it Brownie, but in 18 months, Brownie's gonna be in the freezer, you know.
It's
So
got expiration
I'll try to
date.
set the expectations properly.
Brownie about to be brisket.
Yeah.
How are the brownies in the cupboard and the freezer?
Yeah, how's that working for you?
And we're wiping it on our face.
Brownies everywhere in the house.
Yeah, I could just see it. You know, the shock.
It's like war paint at this point.
Poor Brownie.
Now, what has this been like, Jason, for your personal mental health?
Man, I remember I did this breath exercise, right? When I first started down the mental health journey.
That's the brownies talking.
That's right.
I'm doing this breath work, and just tears just start flowing. You know, and it made me think back to every time I ever had something go on in my life. Like even when my dad passed, right? They offered me like free therapy, and I was like, nah. You know, my partner got smoked. They offered me 3 free therapy. I'm like, y'all probably trying to get me to tell the story under pressure. Like I'm not with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it made me just think about all of these times that I should have been good to myself and wasn't. And now when I look at where I'm at and the things that I'm doing, it gives me a reason to smile for no reason. And it gives me a place of refuge for real. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I was with one of my partners, bro, and I love him to death. And we were talking about grounding. And I was like, bro, just take your shoes off, stand on the grass. Man, you know they don't take their fucking shoes off. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, bro. You on some white people shit. You know what I mean? Got a nigga put their feet in the grass and all of that. But literally, your body needs to be grounded. What's going to happen if you don't ground the electricity in your house? It's going to knock all the power out your house. It might hit you. It might knock you out. You know what I mean? And I think that me getting away from all these stereotypes that put a ceiling on some of the thoughts in my mind are now being deteriorated bit by bit. You know what I mean? And I'm able to see myself, you know? Like, bro, dealing with animals, especially prey animals, right? Prey animals are the animals that can't do nothing but run and kick and jump. You know what I mean? And like they just they travel in herds because that's all they can do. Like let's run away from this shit. You know,
together.
Exactly. When you look one of them animals in their eyes, they tell you exactly who you are. They tell you exactly how you feeling. If they scared, you scared. If you scared, they scared. Whatever. You know what I mean? You. It's just mirror that's being held up to you constantly. You know, and I think for a while I was dealing with the anger issues. You know what I'm saying? Like I can just think of so many moments that I was alone by myself and my heart was beating fast, just pissed, thinking about whatever it may have been. You know what I mean? So I'm allowing myself to go through the process and really be able to look at myself, because being famous, bro, is such a drug that everybody else loves so much. Because I never took that into account. Like, what happens if I get famous? Like, I never thought about that. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't think when I did Straight Outta Compton, like, man, we about to shake the world. Like, I wasn't thinking that. I was just thinking I can't fuck this up, otherwise I can't come back to California. You know what I mean? Like, I had a whole different thought process about it.
That's funny.
So once you start getting famous, people start trying to create a recipe of a person that they think you might like. You know what I'm saying? And you deal with that person for years at a time before the real them is actually revealed. You know what I mean? And a lot of times you build a genuine love for that person or a genuine trust for that person only to find out, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I done been in weird situations, bro, where, like, I'm really liking this girl, I'm courting her, I'm trying not to move too fast, and then finally you in bed with this person, and we done had 4 or 5 drinks, and then, make me famous, Jason. You know what I mean? Like, come on, really?
Clock me out, please.
Not gonna call it dang. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man, it's been a deep breath for me. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm still going through the process, but that's why I'm such a big advocate for it, bro, because it's doing something for me. You know what I mean? Like, seeing the plants that I've grown, you know, start from something small and becoming something big. I'm like, yeah, nigga. I be talking to my plants and shit. You know what I mean? I be naming them and shit.
Looking good.
You know what I mean? Young Thug got out. I got a plant. I named it Jeff. I'm like, free Jeff, my nigga. You know what I mean? Exactly. You know, and Jeff done grew up and blossomed, and you know what I mean? He's doing great.
Right. He's doing good. He's doing good.
You know? Yeah. So it's been really, really good for me, bro, because if you can't, like, I used to have problems, like, sitting alone with myself and just, you know, I never just wanted to just be alone. Now I find a lot of joy just kicking it by myself, you know? And I know this is all due to these new things that I'm exposing myself to. And I got somebody who really, truly cares about me. You know what I mean? No matter my color and all of that. This dude hung with me for 6 months before he knew I was an actor. You know what I mean? It took us going in Kroger and people being like, oh my God. He's like, why the fuck is these bitches acting so weird? Like, every time we go somewhere, people are weird. Like, tell me about it. Like, what's happening?
He's probably at home like, honey, I think Jason is, I don't know, man. There's something he's not telling me. Man.
He doesn't come off as a drug dealer, but people need him when he's around.
I think I asked him if, like, you're a mayor or something in the very beginning. Right. You know? I'm like, bro, why are we in Kroger at like 9 o'clock at night getting some steaks to barbecue and people are getting pictures with you, you know? Right. And then this one lady comes up and she's like, oh, you're Jason Mitchell, yada, yada, yada. God damn, I've heard this 20 times. And she looked at me and she looked at me up and down. She goes, and you must be important if you're hanging out with him. I was like, what the? You don't even know me.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's wild, bro. It's wild. And the grocery store is such a taboo little place to me now because, like, man, like, I go to the grocery store, I be in there with my kids, 2 baskets and wear the groceries and shit, and people will see us and be like, what are you doing here? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, it always
they got BOGO on Doritos.
I'm looking at this terrible food here, this terrible meat.
Right.
I'm getting this garbage to ingest tonight.
But I like what you were saying, again, on the mental health tip. Something about that kind of work and being in part of agriculture and being on a farm, it's very honest.
Yes.
You either did it or you didn't do it.
Exactly.
You either watered it or you didn't water it. You either fed it or you didn't.
Right.
So there's not smoke and mirrors out there. There's a lot less politics. It's very, very true to to the core.
It's pure.
It's pure.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of purity out there anymore.
What you say, G, and ain't got time to lie to you.
Yeah, that's my saying. Is my, you know, what the director or producer, whatever the hell the terminology is in your world, was we're on our little set, and he said something. I was like, dude, I ain't got time to sit there and lie to you, you know. And they started laughing. I'm like, what are y'all laughing? Like, Jason. So apparently, I say a bunch of stuff that people think's funny. I don't get it. But one thing he skipped over when you're asking about that. Is I was in Santa Rosa Beach a couple weeks ago, and every day he's like, "Hey man, you need me to check on the chickens?" You know, he's like, "Hey, let me go check on the chickens." You know, I'm looking at my ring cam every day. This dude is in there and I'll tell you this, because Corey, you can attest to this. The two biggest times I've seen this guy smile is when we got our cows. And when he came in here to do your project.
Really?
I kid you not. I kid you not, dude. He has been talking about this Danza project. I'm like, who's Danza? No offense, dude. You know what I mean? But I'm like, what is that? Okay, cool. Let's go talk to Danza. You know? That's awesome. You know? And he's like, no, you don't understand. I'm like, I know, motherfucker. I've been telling you I don't understand. You know?
No, but you don't get it.
Yeah.
Nah, for real.
But back to the mental health thing is, you know, going out there with the animals and making sure that they're taken care of. It's almost like being a father again. You know, the pride that you get from taking care of something and knowing that if you don't handle up on it, they're not going to make it. You know, and he hasn't got to experience this yet, but like during the winter, you know, like when the ponds freeze over, you got to get the skid steer out there and you got to break the ice so your cows can drink. You know, I almost died in my pond one time with my skid steer. It's the doors in the front. And the ice was about that thick, and I'm just punching through, and the skid steer just started sliding into the pond. There's no way to get out of it, you know, because the swing arm is in the front, so you can't get out. So I lowered down the front end. I had a hay spear on it, and thank God it stuck. But, I mean, I had to put my feet up on the door because the water was in it, you know. And I called one of my renters at my RV park, and I was like, please tell me that you're here. And he's like, yeah, I'm here. I'm like, man, I got a chain in my truck. I need you to get over here right now.
Come get me.
You know, yeah.
So what are you doing? You're breaking up the ice?
Yeah, it's actually on my TikTok. You know, I don't even know the name of it. But,
plug it.
Yeah, so the ice is like this thick. Okay. You know, so you can't get out there and bust it by hand. You got to get a piece of equipment out there. And all I had there was my skid steer. So I'm trying to bust the ice out, you know, to get my girls where they could drink, you know. Right. And you have to do it every day. It refreezes.
Overnight.
Yeah, overnight. But you ain't got to experience that yet. I can't. I mean, hopefully it's a different experience for you on this one, you know.
You know, black people in wild water. We already. Right. I mean, they ain't got no Mexicans. You know what? I mean,
that'll stay your chore. That'll be your designated.
And there's things about obviously him that I'll know more about his history because it's now public than I would know about you. And the reason I ask you about your mental health is loss. Early on, you had a friend that was murdered, shot 17 times when you were really young. And those things, I just shared a story with you guys when I walked in here with my son. I walk out to the pool. All I did was take my bracelet off. He ran out the door, and I go to the pool, and he's literally kicking up like that. You know, thankfully, I was out there and I was able to grab him out. You know, he's underwater. And that makes, like, to start this episode, made it tough.
Yeah.
Because I had to, like, gather myself. That's why I didn't run right in the room. I picked up the phone for him, and I'm like, hey, you know, I'll open the door and let you guys in. But I'm, like, gathering the anxiety, right? That's not loss. That's the thought of it.
Yeah.
And then an amazing New Orleans artist, Young Greatness, right, that also lost his life. So you went through that type of pain coming up.
Yeah.
And that is, like, when you think of black men, get over it. It's almost like, it happens all the time. You know, so you deal with this, and that's what I want to know about how you deal and how much this has been for your mental health.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Take your time, of course.
Fuck. Sorry, y'all. Shit. Took it there. Yeah. Okay. We doing this.
You're
okay,
in.
So yeah, man. New Orleans, rough city. Rough city. And, you know, a lot of times, I don't think we realize how much we have to lose until it's gone. You know, like my partner, Keith Page, rest his soul, you know, my best friend through our high school days, you know. He was telling me about a situation that happened, and I'm like, bro, you need to just stay out of that. You know, it ain't got nothing to do with you. That ain't your business. Just stay out of that. You know what I mean? And he just couldn't help it. He's like, nah, you know, niggas be doing that now. I'm like, bro, that ain't got nothing to do with you. Oh, and they ratting and they ain't got nothing to do with you. In 14 hours from us having that conversation, he was dead. And, you know, for this man to leave my house, you know what I mean, and get shot 17 times broad daylight, it's like, but in the moment, you know, you tough about it. Like, it ain't no tears, it ain't none of that. Right. It ain't none of that. Like, everybody just like, all right, we got it. This way it's gonna go, we got it.
Right.
You know, and then it's like, we desensitizing this shit so much, bro. We desensitizing this shit so much. And it's like, it ain't, like even right now, like I don't even know why I feel like I need to hide my feelings, but I do. You know what I mean? Like when my dad passed, I ain't cry. You know, when that shit happened with greatness, it was just like, all I could do is take that shit to work and use it. You know what I mean? Because I feel like, what good is it gonna do me to even express how I feel or let my feelings out or let anybody know how I'm feeling? You know, that shit ain't gonna do me no good. Niggas gonna think I'm soft. They're gonna look at me like a bitch. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna look crazy in front of the world. But the truth is, like, not feeling this shit and trying to hide it ain't do me no favors, bro. That shit just pissed me off. That shit just pissed me off, you know? So I still don't know how to feel about it. You know, I just hope they smiling down. You know what I mean? Like OG Macko, bro, another one of my good friends. He just unalived himself in December. You know what I mean? And last time I pulled up on my dog in LA, he working with Robin Thicke. You know what I mean? It's like
big movement.
Exactly, to see where he coming from. You know what I mean? Like we was all in the streets at one point in time, and look at where he at now.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I could think.
And that's why I feel like this is powerful for you.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're doing something where you're giving people an opportunity that are facing demons a chance to find a reason worth staying here for. You know, and it's more impactful when it's personal. You know, it's like you're trying to change something in things that you've seen, not, you know what I mean, that has become you.
Yeah. Yeah, bro, because, I mean, it's sometimes I go to New Orleans and I just look at some of these people's eyes, you know? Yeah, let me, I'm sorry. One more time.
It's all good.
Man. Damn.
It's all
Took
good.
it there on me, huh, bro?
Yeah, my bad.
Take time to feel
Nothing
it.
that beef tallow can't fix.
We'll go home and check on the girls. The cows. Girls.
Right? But yeah, man, I just think that, you know, we've just been conditioned to feel like this shit is normal. Ain't nothing about this normal. Ain't nothing about this third world way of living. You know, as a tax-paying citizen. None of that shit is normal, bro. Like, what? Yeah. You know, like, I remember my 8th grade summer, right? You know, we all young boys, you know what I mean? So all we could think about is female.
That's a big summer, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Right before high school, that's a big summer.
Exactly, you know?
Some beef tallow.
You can always throw it in there. It is good to use.
Yeah, but I remember.
That's a white man's Diddy party.
Slippery.
Take that.
Right? No, so I remember starting Starting 9th grade. Shout out to Fauché. You hear me? Everybody who know New Orleans know this school. Fauché. It didn't come back after the storm because it was like number 4 worst schools.
Oh boy.
Like in the United States at the time, you know what I mean? It was very much lean on me. It was crazy. We had no lockers. The trash cans we had to be chained down. Like shit was weapons. Man. It was a wild school. But I remember somebody who I knew in the 8th grade that by the time he made it to the 9th grade had caught like 3 bodies and had a completely different demeanor. You know what I mean? Like he was in the 9th grade and was a cold killer, just coming to school with us. You know what I mean? I never forget like the eerie feeling that I used to have being in class with them dudes. Like, you know, because you're like, nah, you know what I mean? We about to go smoke some weed after this. They're like, I'm about to slide. You're like,
down the slides or?
Well, all right. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Explain that to me, please.
Like, yeah, I'm sorry. You doing what now? Yeah. Y'all going to kill who? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't ready. Like, you know, I just felt like that wasn't some shit that we should have been doing in high school and thinking about. You know what I mean? But that was our life. That was New Orleans for you, bro. You know, and it'll chew you up and spit you out. So everybody thinking, let's be tough. You know, because when it ain't no money, it's may the biggest gun win, may the toughest nigga win. You know what I mean? And you just see people just knocking each other off. You know, and it's to the point where like, you know, my 11th grade year, somebody got killed at school. And all everybody could think was, now I'm bringing my strap every day. You know what I mean? Every day. So now everybody's strapped at school. It's like, it was just a really strange environment. You know what I'm saying? So I had to deal with this crazy culture shock jumping from New Orleans to now Hollywood. And the craziest shit about all of that is that I remember leaving the black carpet for Straight Outta Compton because they did a black carpet, not red carpet. But I remember leaving there and just untucking my shit, being like, man, I can't wait to get out of this fucking stupid ass suit, you know what I mean, and go hang with my friends. Like, what? Just that thought process itself is stupid.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, what? I did all of this, to fight hard to get myself out the hood, and the first thing I want to do when I do something great with myself is go hang with my partner.
Right back to it.
Shit is corny, man. That shit is corny.
It's wild, like you were saying, though, like, you know, when things happen and you're from that, you're kind of forced to suppress it.
Exactly.
And kind of stuff it under the rug and compartmentalize that. You're not able to give it your heart freely like you can this project.
Exactly.
Like, you can go there and have a bad day, stop in the stillness, and then still appreciate and actually feel the moment for what it was. But stuff like that, when it happens, you're forced to just kind of put it in the pocket as deep as possible and forget about it.
Exactly.
But that shit doesn't go away.
At all.
The pain from those moments does not go away. It's just how you channel feeling those emotions when they do come back and arise.
Right.
And I appreciate you sharing that with us as well.
No, it's all good. Because as an actor, you know, I've been using the cheat sheet for so long. You know what I mean? Like, I remember me and F. Gary Gray had this hard down argument because we in my trailer and he's like, yeah, you know, the Easy Week is coming up. That's what they call it, the scene, all the hospital scenes, right? Because it was the hardest week and it was mostly Eazy-E, but it was the hard shit, you know. So as a play on words, they called it the Easy Week, right? And he's like, yeah, the Easy Week's coming up. You know, I want you to show me what you're gonna do. I'm like, well, I mean, I auditioned and you loved it. Like, I mean, what do you want me to say? You know what I mean? And he's like, no, I want you to show me like what you're gonna do because my movie is riding on.
I need to see you cry, Jason. Like,
exactly.
You want me to do it now? Like during lunch? I'm in my trailer. I'm trying to do my little thing. Like, why do you want me to do this now? So we had a whole argument because I told him, turning it on ain't the hard part. It's the turning it off, right? So we ended up doing that scene in like 4 takes, and I don't know if y'all know how that normally works, but that's unheard of. You know what I mean? But I was telling him that day, like, he just held me and hugged me and just let me cry because I told him, I was like, bro, turning it on is not that hard. It's really not. I just don't give myself the space to be able to do that. But I've been using that as the cheat sheet since forever. Like, oh, this fucked me up. All right, I'll put that in my bag. Yeah. I'll put that in my cry bag. You know what I mean? I'll put this in my hurt bag. I'll put this in my lost bag. You know what I mean? And I only whip it out when it's time and people go, yay! You know what I mean? And you sleep it off and you're like, did a great job at work today, but you're not really addressing none of your fucking problems at all. It's scary, bro. It's a scary road, you know?
And were you aware of these things? Obviously, you don't know who he is when you first meet him, right? So were you aware of these things at all?
That's the first time I've ever heard of the dude that got shot 17 times.
Really?
Oh man.
And the other guy that you talked about.
Yeah, great.
He's been holding out on me.
Yeah.
He wanted to keep that in the bag.
Because
right.
Yeah, because it's like, where do you even start? You know what I mean? It was like, I wanted to say something crafty. You know what I mean? Like, you be on these podcasts and know that you're in front of the world and you're like, how do I say the deep thing right now? But it's like, I got nothing. I got nothing. I just want to let it out. You know what I mean? And sometimes, just thinking, like processing, like, oh, all right, so what are we just fucking riding in the Escalade one day? And I'm like, man, let me tell you about, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you even break the ice to get there? It's like, it's such a weird process, bro. You know what I mean? Especially for men, because all we do is tough it out.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? We done had some issues before, family stuff, and all we do is like sit there and stare at each other's eyes to be like, fuck that, I ain't crying about it.
Yeah.
You good?
I'm good.
You know what I mean? Exactly. That's what we do. I'm good.
Well, and as men, you guys touch on it. That's what we're conditioned to do. And if we break down, it's used against us.
Yeah.
Right? And that's
a
just
fact.
that's just how it goes.
held over
So
your
either you lose your family over it, because I have also, been divorced, really, really bad one, and you
So
think,
before we get into that, right? Because I don't want to cut you off, but just so you know, this is the reason why you get a little small when you come to the Danza project. But go ahead.
I don't even know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Because you said the only times you've seen him like that was for when you purchased the cows in the Danza project.
Yeah.
This is what could happen. So now with that said, Gene,
Listen.
I want to know about this though. I want to know about the trauma that you faced during that divorce.
And he'll tell you, I'm not easily impressed, but it's pretty impressive, all the stuff that you're doing, just from what I've seen. I've never seen anything but what we've done here before. No, I mean,
I really appreciate it.
It's y'all talk about some important stuff, it seems like.
Oh, we get into it. Well,
I'm going to have to go back and do some research.
We get into the nitty gritty of it,
Yeah.
The beef tallow.
Yeah, the tallow of it all.
The tallow.
Yeah.
But because I want to ask you that. I was asking him because I know. Now what I don't know about you is everything else, right?
Yeah.
I only know what you've told me. It's the same. Yeah. So what makes this? Obviously, now we spoke about the divorce. We're going to get into that. But
I got to talk to my attorney.
Yeah.
But it's your mental health as well. What you're doing is something huge. In order to do what you're doing right now, to be able to sit there and say, I am going to help these veterans get a better path in life for whatever reason you feel like you want to help people. There's a deep need to.
You're smart, I'll tell people all the time, they're like, man, why do you help so many people? I was like, people that help people are lying to your face if they say they're not doing it to get a little bit of something out of it.
Oh yeah.
Right? And I'm not vain enough to say I'm doing it just to help people. Because it makes you feel good. The highest dopamine that you can get in your body is helping somebody else.
Yeah.
Period. It makes you feel good to do that.
That's what they say. Being selfless is actually the most selfish thing you can do.
100%.
Well, and we should think that way. If I can convince more people that by helping others, I will in turn feel better, that's the best thing we could possibly do.
Facts.
It's okay to help yourself.
Right.
A lot of people are like, oh man, you're going to help yourself. Yeah, I am going to help myself because I can't help you or you or you or you if I'm messed up.
Right.
You just can't, But yeah, I think everybody's got some kind of that kind of story. I mean, nothing like what you've got. I grew up in a different area, I mean,
but it's different, right? Like it doesn't mean that it's less than.
The trauma is the same. It's just a different venue that it came through.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And black or white or whatever you are, we've all been taught as men the same thing. Yeah. It's going to be used against you. You're going to be a little bitch if you let it out. You go cry by yourself, for 2 hours and then suck it up and go back outside. That's just how it is. And that's why that unaliving rate is considerably higher, on our end of the spectrum than it is on the other one,
Yeah.
And that kind of leads into the Agrihood thing, like with the animal therapy and the horse therapy, Horses are very, very, very intelligent creatures, if you're coming to them, and I've had lots of horses, and I had a nonprofit that we did for kids that were terminally ill. And I'd take 7 horses down once a quarter, and we would ride them all weekend long. And I can get on these horses, and buddy, you better hold on because it's going crazy. I can take a kid that's terminally ill and put on that same horse, and it'll take a step, and it'll look back, and it'll take another step, and it'll look back. They know. They can feel that stuff. Yeah. And you feel the energy that the horse is giving you. And mentally, that changes the whole entire ball game. As men, even talking to a therapist, if we're sitting in this setting, we're not going to open up very much. We'll give you a little bit of details, right? But we're guarded. The whole reason we're doing this the way that we're doing this is if I'm your therapist and you're in the garden, right? And I'm having you picking some peppers and going through some plants and digging through the dirt, you're focused on something else. So when I ask you questions, you're going to give me the honest question that you can give me, and you're not guarded, right? So people don't realize, like an AA meeting, inside of a room, it kind of sucks, right?
Right. You just listen to everybody else's story like I'm about to fabricate my shit.
Yeah. But if you're outside getting some vitamin D, which everybody's deficient on, and that's another reason why people are messed up, because they can't break down all the stuff in their body because they don't have enough vitamin D.
Vitamin D.
Yeah, you get out in the sunshine, you get some fresh air, you're doing something else, and it just accelerates the progress that you're going to make mentally, So we've done a lot of research, and we've got a lot of people considerably smarter than we are to help us out on this, and that's what you have to do to make it work. I think it's going to be a good thing, and I think it ties into a lot of the stuff that you guys talk about.
Yeah. Now, when you talk about Agrihood, right, and how it came together, was it the idea that came together first, or the show? Like, how did this start?
It was. I think it was the idea that came together first. You know what I mean? Because one thing about TV, we got a saying in Hollywood: "Hurry up and wait." You know what I mean? And like once you get to like the third quarter, they already talking about what they're gonna do for next year. You know what I mean? So it's like, damn, like if you get caught up in that, it'll have you on the back burner for a while, even if it's a great idea. So for us, we was just like, man, listen, like Gene be telling me all the time, so you gonna shit or get off the pot. You know what I mean? Because he a farmer. He'll show up to my house 8 a.m. He's 7:45 a.m. Don't even ring my doorbell. Just walk in my shit. Like, let's go. Like, what we doing? Just get your ass up. I don't know. Come on, bro.
Y'all laugh, but that's exactly how it goes.
Yeah,
exactly how it
fucking
goes.
Hilarious, man. But it's I think it was important for us to just start getting the work done so we could be able to see some progress. You know what I mean? Because like as men who like to work with their hands and like actually like to do shit, sitting around talking about it ain't gonna find our lost remote, bro. You know what I mean? So we had to just start putting things into play. And as we started having conversations like with my manager and with other people, like we started like hearing these whispers of offers and what was possible and all of that. And we were, you know what? Might be better to make our own little investment and start this off right. You know what I mean? So we putting our money where our mouth is. We putting our hands in the dirt. We putting our feet in the dirt, and we just trying to lead by example. You know what I mean? So hopefully we spark the mind of somebody incredible or some trillionaire who wants to help us take this shit global.
Right. Is that the reason for the show ultimately, is to highlight it to the world so they understand?
Absolutely, because like everybody runs from the unknown, like we were saying before. You know what I mean? But if you could show somebody, hey, you could put these strawberries in your front yard and it ain't gonna take that long. You know what I mean? You get this extra little pond water and you put that in there instead of the water that's coming from your house. It might grow 2-3 times as fast. Why don't you try it yourself?
Bro, you are learning so much. Oh my God. You're like a sponge. I might cry now. There you go.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. Look at you, man. Spread your wings.
You know?
You've been getting your old house before too long?
Yeah, I used to because I used to think flies was the stupidest thing. Like, why did you invent flies?
I might as well just walk off now. He's
right
got it from here.
The stupidest shit ever, right? But then, because they have what they call rotation in sustainable farming, right? So
Give me some game. Give me some game.
Well,
baby.
so take it from the top, right?
Can you
So,
send me spot?
let's say you got a hay bale, right? And you got your acres, right? So you lay the hay bale out and you roll it all the way out so the cows will eat it and they'll shit next to it, right? And then you bring the chickens in and the chickens will turn that cow patty from, I don't know, a foot around maybe to this 9-foot space that they're picking through because the flies are coming and they're
Getting the bugs.
Yeah, they leaving babies and shit and the larvae and all of that, and the chickens are coming through and they're eating that shit and they're spreading it out, and ultimately it's refertilizing the ground because after they eat all of these bugs, they got so much so many nutrients that's in their shit, nitrogen and all of that. It's really high in nitrogen, you know what I mean? Which is really good for your plants ultimately. You know what I mean? So like, it's this beautiful circle of life, you know what I mean, that happens. Like God did everything right, you know? So with sustainable farming, you get to show people like exactly the way he designed it, you know what I mean? Which is really fucking cool, bro. Like I'm learning so much shit. Like listen.
I'm learning a lot too. I didn't know Eazy-E knew this much about flies.
Bro, you're retaining. You're not learning. You're retaining.
You did.
Yeah, that's pretty
I'm telling you, dog.
I'm pretty proud of that.
What are the?
I still can't tell you shit about a movie set. So
What are the?
You
what are
You're
the,
about to find out.
what are the primary crops in veggies and fruits and things like that that you want to focus on or get to?
So every plant that we plant is going to be some kind of producing plant.
Right.
We'll have apples, pears, peaches, plums, pomegranates, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, and then your garden is going to just have your typical, your zucchinis, your squashes, your peppers, your tomatoes, your potatoes, the basic stuff that you get, your onions, garlic, all your herbs. Herbs are so easy, people.
Herbs.
Man, people don't understand how easy herbs are, and you got fresh sweet basil
Yes, Lord.
that you can put, believe it or not, on your watermelon, right? I got, this dude, I'll tell you what.
Bro.
Hold on, did you say basil on watermelon?
Bro,
How does that work? How does that work?
I knew it.
So, bro, we grilling at my crib, right? So, he ain't the wait around type. You know what I'm saying? Like, he gonna sous chef at the crib. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna do the same thing at his house. But I'm on the grill watching him cut this watermelon up through the through the window and shit. I'm looking like, what is this white man doing with sweet basil, watermelon, and of all things, balsamic vinaigrette?
Oh man.
And he in there dressing it up, doing his thing, and I'm like, how I'm gonna tell this motherfucker, like,
I ain't
you know what I mean? Exactly. Like,
He
this
gonna
is
have
why
to eat
you
that
can't
first.
leave white people alone with watermelon. Like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? Bro, when I'm talking about change my life,
Michelin star.
swinning, just want to change your life. Like that, bro.
Wait, I'm the hunger right now.
Bro,
Can I order
we
this on
should've
Uber
brought
Eats?
it.
All we need is a watermelon, some balsamic, and some sweet basil. I'll hook it up for you right now.
Bro.
You can use mint.
I know you guys have other interviews and stuff that you have to do, so I'm kind of like, hey, we're gonna have to cancel that one. Right there. Meet us at the restaurant.
Bro,
dude,
when I'm
it's so
talking about
good.
change my life,
That's
I was
dope.
like, damn, they need to throw all the stereotypes out the window. Now, apparently, watermelon is a white thing.
Balsamic and basil. You're in a different neighborhood now. You're in a different neighborhood.
You're not gonna believe this, but I season my food too.
What?
I mean, he's from Texas, man. It's just like, listen, the white boys where he's from, they're a little different too now. So, So there's some season in there. It makes sense. Yeah. You guys can funnel this into so many different avenues too, man. If you put your cookbooks together or cook show together or whatever type of content and media, there's a lot of little workarounds that you that might be your first recipe on the book. If you make a proper statement in the show. So I could see this thing going pretty far, man. That's pretty cool.
It's pretty exciting too.
Yeah.
It is. It's interesting. So where is this? Where can we find this show?
It'll be on YouTube. We're going to give it to everybody for free because we feel like, we don't want you to have to subscribe to a certain outlet or nothing like that. We just want to, we want people to just follow the journey right now. And I want to be honest and say to the people at home who are watching this, we can't do this without you.
For real. It is, and all we asking for is your time. And if you really want to see us win, if you really want to help the cause, just go to the YouTube page and push play. Even if you feel like you need to clean up your house while you do it and distract yourself and do something else, we just need a little bit of your time because we doing the work of many right now, and we need you. We need your help. You know what I'm saying? We need your 1-2 views. We need you to go tell your friends and your family about this because we trying to give y'all something that is really going to change your life. It's going to change your children's lives. You know, some people like, you know, I know y'all are dealing with disease and you know, some kind of sickness, all of this. Like, we trying to help y'all. Exactly. We just want to clean us up. So this is about all of us, you know? We highlighting our vets right now, but this for all of us.
You know who it is that you really need to be speaking to whenever you're talking on one of these podcasts? The truckers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. They're the ones that are really, you know, taking that ride and really taking the information in on that long drive, and they get an opportunity to hear from you.
They can consume.
Those are the people you got to talk to. I mean, they're not at home; they're in the truck.
Yeah,
a lot of the comments we get when I look through the YouTube, when I look through the Instagram, when I check the DMs, it's somebody that's like, you know, I've been driving all day long listening to this podcast, and I just wanted to let you know X, Y, and Z.
Yeah,
you know,
big shout out to them
because they don't talk about people that deal with a lot of stress. You know,
bro. Listen, I believe it. Like I started a trucking company a few years ago, and the first thing I did was drove 45 days. Just so I could like get the feel for it. You know what I mean? And because I used to work for the Ritz-Carlton at one point in time, and they got what they call the care system, right? And it's basically this log of everything. Like, let's say you come to New Orleans and you stay in the Ritz and you order a Coke with your food at the restaurant. Then you go to, I don't know, you can get room service and you order another Coke. And then you fly to Hong Kong. As soon as you go to your room, it's gonna be full of Cokes in there. And then you're gonna be like, damn, they blew my mind. Like, you know what I mean? But I took that and I ran with that. You know what I mean? And I try to incorporate that into every aspect of business in my life because I feel like if I treat my driver right, ultimately they're gonna treat me right. And I can know, you know what I mean? And I ain't getting messed over, like I ain't getting finessed, you know what I mean? But we can take care of each other, exactly. But bro, that road. Yeah, brutal. I remember getting out the truck, just whole body still shaking for 45 minutes. You know what I mean? This man, look, shout out to them. You know what they say? If you bought it, a trucker brought it. You know, so yeah, man, they definitely the veins of our society, bro. Yeah. I love them for sure. Shout out to the truckers.
Yeah, man.
What is? And I'll start this one with you, Gene. What's gonna make you say, okay, we did enough. We got it. We got our message out there. Like what is it that you need to accomplish?
Man, so my mentality, I don't know if it's ever gonna be enough, right? Like I don't think the job will ever be finished. But if we can take the 18 a day to 16 a day to 13 a day, maybe getting in single digits a day, then we're going the right direction. Yeah. You know?
Impact.
Yeah, impact. That's what it's about at the end of the day. Right. Is that's how we gauge if it's working. You know? Because it's not just the 10 people that we're dealing with, right? We're sharing those 10 guys or girls stories to thousands of people. And that's where that impact's going to come along. So it's like, man, you only have 10 people in there. How are you going to make a big impact? No.
Right.
Thousands, hopefully hundreds of thousands, hopefully millions of people are watching the journey of these 10 people, and they're living vicariously through that and getting themselves fixed.
Exactly.
How long is the program for?
I don't understand the question.
For the veterans that would be involved.
Oh, we're going to try to do 12 months.
12 months, okay.
And this is going to cover them through the entire 12-month process?
Well, make sure I say this right. If I do, correct me.
I got you.
Right? So I believe that the production company is going to come like for a week every 2 months.
Yeah.
Okay. And then follow each person for a week, and then the next time they come back, they'll get updates on everything and kind of check their crops.
That's a good amount of time. A lot of growth can happen. A lot of experience.
That's right. So somebody can be completely changed.
Wow.
You know.
Exactly.
Wow, so you'll be able to showcase the rehabilitative side of it.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping, because if the people that are viewing can see progress with somebody else in their same situation, then why can't I do it? You know?
Yeah.
And how did you gauge to find these individuals that you'd inevitably want?
Dude, we get the list is
The people who need help
forever.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's not the
bro.
hard part.
No, that's
crazy.
not. The hard part is going to be, and we haven't even got there yet. The hard part's going to be turning people down.
I see.
You know, for me, that's going to be because so with the nonprofit that I ran with terminally ill children, obviously you lose kids. It's part of the process, right? You're helping them as much as you can, and it's never easy. Never. Yeah. It's going to happen that we're going to turn somebody down and they're going to be part of the 18 and we're going to feel like absolute hammered dog shit for it.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that we can do about it, you know, because it's like adopting a dog. You can't take them all.
You're wrong, though, because there might not be something that you can do about it today, but what you're creating through this program and allowing people to see it is you're giving other people a lane to jump right behind you and do it. We see 20 V1s. We've seen other podcasts. We see everything happen, and then we see people repeat the process. So you're wrong. You're giving that person might be picked up by somebody else once the world starts seeing what you two are doing.
Yeah, and hopefully that'll happen.
Yeah.
You know, just like Jason with me, with him trying to get me this whole acting thing. He's so happy to see me succeed. You know, and you'd think somebody in his position. I mean, you're talking about a big dog over here, right? Most people are like, whatever. You know, but dude, he's so happy to see me grow on this side. Like you can see me light up when he's talking about all this agricultural stuff. I'm so happy to see him succeeding on this stuff. You know what I mean?
Funny.
So that's what we're hoping too, is that, you know, I don't care if somebody else is doing it too. Sweet, dude. If you can take that number 18, if we can take it down together, you know, call me up, ask me a question. I'll help you out. I'm not going to be like, bro, you're stealing my idea. It's not about, that's not what it's about.
Yeah, because it's so dope, you know, what he's saying. Because, like, you know, like, even with his 501c3, like, we're forgetting that it's not just a person, it's the family. You know what I mean? When you got a terminally ill child, everybody's thinking about this one kid, you know, and in turn, their other kids get pushed to the side a little bit, you know what I mean? Or mom and dad are super stressed out all the time, you know? And it's the same thing when somebody unalives themselves, you know what I mean? It affects the entire family. So it's so many more people who are being drugged through the mud because we're not paying enough attention to the person to the left or the right of us, you know what I mean? And just because a motherfucker don't look like what they've been through don't mean they ain't going through it. You know? Because, I mean, like, bro, when we was interviewing, Bro, I mean, just think about that. You 19 years old, and you run in a crib, lay down two people, bop, 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 like it ain't nothing, okay? That's the first thing. You just laid them down like a video game. Then you go upstairs only to grab somebody who you think you trying to help, and boom. You know what he told us? He said it blew him back. He hit the wall. He was out for 30 minutes. He woke up, blood everywhere, shards all in his body. He grabbed the other guy who he was with. They lost a guy in there, but the one who was still alive, he drug him out. What?
Yeah.
And then after all of that, they say, you know what? You did an awesome job. Go home. What?
Yeah, you're not normal after that.
No. What?
What's normal?
You know, but that's a normal day on the job for them. That's incredible, bro.
It's a real risk.
You know what I mean? And we at home fucking twirling our thumbs together and shit, arguing about reality TV. You know what I mean? And it's like, bro, it's so incredible that we can even think about leaving them in some sort of position where they feel alone. That's wild. That's wild. Like, thinking about it is almost like I feel ashamed a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I was so mad at my dad when he passed, bro. I was so mad. Like, how could you just think about yourself?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, like, what do you say to a man who was a paratrooper? I'm talking about who don't even want to talk about it. You know what I mean? Been to Saudi, been to all of these places, don't even want to talk about it. Been to Bosnia, don't even want to talk about it, bro. I don't have nothing to say about none of this. Right? He was looking at himself in the mirror when he did it. Where they do that at? You know what I mean? Like, it's these people going through some stuff. These people are going through some stuff. And you know what was crazy, though, to watch? Them interact with each other. You know what I mean? Because it's like, they start to be able to find their tribe. So I think through all of this, hopefully, like, we've been talking about how we're going to do it exactly because, like, neither one of us are really, like, tech guys, right? But, like, just building the community itself, allowing them to have a safe space to talk to each other. Like, they don't have to go out and do nothing great. You don't got to sit in no crazy classroom or whatever. But, you know, hopefully they got Zoom calls with 60, 70 people on them, and they just in there just hanging with each other if they don't have to say nothing. You know what I mean? Just chilling and have a beer together. Like, we got to keep them in mind, bro. I can go on and on about this because I'm super passionate about it.
And you know what's wild is inevitably just like the fireman system, right? Like, after the 12 months, they're gone. Mm-hmm. And they're set out to the world, and you kind of have to, like, you see what you did doing this is you actually did put a name to it. There's a name there. Mm-hmm. You know, there's somebody that you connected with from the interview to that time that they spent with you to going through the program. Especially, this is going to be the first 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you got to say goodbye to them.
Mm.
Thanks. I hadn't even prepared for that.
Well, here we go. Crying on the Danza project.
Damn it. If I had any feelings left, bro, I'd be crying right now. Yeah, I didn't think about that, you know? It's a bittersweet thing, you know? Like, like a kid graduating and getting his own place, you know? Or like my son, the driver's license the first time. It's like, oh, yeah, man, I'm glad I don't have to take you around anywhere, but boy, I sure would like to take you around somewhere.
Right.
You know?
Facts.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't know. I don't have a coping mechanism for that yet.
Well, hopefully this builds into something, though, that doesn't have to feel so off-grid. You know what I mean? Because I really believe that, like, once we start sparking the minds of different people, that, like, it'll start to intertwine and I hate this word, but normalize itself. You know what I'm saying?
Become the norm. Yeah.
Exactly.
The new norm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, because I just feel like we can't do it all ourselves anyway. Yeah. You know? As hands-on as this guy likes to be, like, he wants to run every piece of machinery. He want to plant every seed. Like, I'm going to do it right. You know what I mean? But the reality of it is, if we go nationwide, if this thing goes public, like we really, really want it to, we gonna need help, and why not have help from some of the toughest motherfuckers that we could ever meet? You know,
what would be some things that you guys are still missing or could need that anybody could contribute to your pilot show and series?
Well, so
funds obviously,
right? Yeah, so you got two ways that you can do that, right? Yeah. So we can get your time, a little bit of your time, for viewership, for us to earn income through the television show or through the television. Through
it's television,
the show
for sure.
And then when we get the 501c set up, obviously donate to that program. You know, we don't want to funnel people to the page yet because it's not set up. We haven't dropped anything.
Okay,
we don't want any money from anybody right now because, I mean, knock on wood, if it doesn't take off, then I don't want to be refunding a bunch of money to everybody. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I don't want anybody's money right now. We don't want anybody's money right now.
Right.
We want viewerships. You know, you guys know how it works. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what we have to have. And like Jason said, you know, if it's 10 minutes, you know, give us 10 minutes of just your phone battery. You know,
and send it to somebody that could, you know, get some use out of some top 5 tallow tips or
whatever
it is.
100%.
How to avoid chiggers in the wild. Or whatever.
That's the name of the show, right? Jason and Gene beef tallow.
Just the tallow tips.
But you know, I always say this about our show, and you know, we've kind of grown into that much better. I say we have fans out there that just don't know we exist yet. So they probably love what we talking about. They just not on their radar yet. And this is the type of content that I think people could benefit from in real life scenarios. So it's going to be about getting you in front of as many people. Right?
Yeah.
We
Well, edutainment, Kev.
There you go.
Dude, if I would have known about your podcast, I'm sure when I'm in my tractor for 12 hours, I'd have been listening to it. You know, because I listen to the Joe Rogans, and you can only listen to so much music. It gets so old, dude, sitting in there. But
well, don't worry. There's some that you won't want to listen to. You know, what I mean? Randomly Orlando Brown will pop in.
You don't need to see that.
Oh, bro, come on. Relax.
But I'll say this: patience is going to be the most important thing.
Ooh, I don't have a lot of that.
Because you got to let the fans and the supporters grow.
Yeah.
You know, in the first time, you might, you know, this being something new for you, you might pay attention too much to the numbers. You know, oh, how are the views coming in, or you know, do they actually care? Are they commenting? They might not right away. First, people mostly want to see, are you serious about what you're doing before I actually give you the time? You know, this is the beginning of something. So patience is important. And also you're going to learn that, obviously, with all the people that's sitting there with a camera in their face and waiting for them to break through, you know? Yeah. In the beginning, they're going to be, guarded. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, oh, man, you got me on TV talking about all this stuff, and I don't want to open up yet. Well, of course. You know, but after time passes, and then after the first time you shoot, the first 12 months, somebody else gets to see that. They're like, oh, okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? Now those people have opened the lane. They've planted the tree. Yeah. The tree has grown, and then the next 10 come in and they're able to help you grow that tree. So I wish you the most success in everything that you guys got going on. Oh, yeah. And why don't we follow up from here? You know, this is part one of what you guys got going on.
We're going to take the Danza project on the road.
Yeah, he's so tight.
We'll go.
We'll have some fun.
Count us in. We're in.
We can come do it in the chicken coop.
Straight up. Y'all enjoy that.
I'll definitely cook you some burgers.
Yeah. I got to hear about this watermelon. I got to hear about
We're both minorities, so, you know, we're used to dealing with chiggers.
What was the cow we named? We got to check on Brownie. We got to check on Brownie. We got to make sure everything's everything.
Obviously, I already used Tallow.
You're on the right path already.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming in. And again, if they could just at least follow you somewhere to get updates to get the updates for everything.
Absolutely. I mostly use Instagram. You know what I mean? So follow me on Instagram, Jason Mitchell Actor. We'll keep y'all updated on everything. You can find Gene from my page. You should still say your page though. My dog got like 81 followers now.
Come on.
Force him to get on Instagram.
Yeah, it's Gene C Official. Okay. They made me make an Instagram. GENE _C _official.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. I just do some TikToking from time to time, you know. But apparently this is what I have to do now.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
I mean, they're gonna want to find you. They're gonna want to, especially after all this. Yeah. You know, they're gonna want to find out who you are and what's going on over there with your life. Yeah.
It's my chigger right there.
And then Orlando, when you ended up my chigger. Well, I appreciate you guys greatly, and we'll definitely tap in soon. Count us in to travel.
Man, thanks for having us on, dude. It's really been a good experience. It's been fun.
I appreciate it.
Leave.
I don't want to go. Are you going to get some watermelon?
Orlando. My name is Danza.
Nope. I'm in front of the camera. Oh, shit, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, he cut us off.
Man.
My name is Danza.
It's your boy Kato.
This is the Danza Project.
Bow, bow, bow.